Good morning, students. Come back to the computer science class. Students, in the last session we have discussed definitions of computer and the basic important components of the computer. Understood? So what are the basic components of the computer? We have discussed four basic components. Those four basic components are data, information, hardware and software. Understood? So, data means it is a raw facts. It is a collection of raw facts or figures or statistics we are given to the computer. Information means after process the data, the useful results can be generated. That results we are called as the information. The processed data we are called as information. Next, hardware. The physical part of the computer is called as a hardware. What is software? A set of programs or set of instructions that can be used to perform a specific task or that can be used to give instruction to the computer what to do, how to do. Understood? So these concepts we are discussed. Today in this session we go for the next concept in this chapter is a functional components of a computer. Functional components of a computer, or we are called as working for each unit. Working for each unit. Each and every computer is having a common functional units. Understood? So almost all computers is having certain functional units, and those computers can support to these functions to process the data in a computer system. What are the major functional units of the computer? Means first one, accept data or programs as inputs. Accept data or programs as a input. Second one, stores the data programs and retrieve as and when we require. Stores the data and programs and retrieve the data and programs as and when required. Third one, process the data as per the instructions given by the program, as per instructions given by the program, as per the instructions given by the program, and converts it into useful outputs or information. Next, fourth one, it will generate the output, right? That is communicate the information as outputs. So these are all the four major functions each and every computer can perform. Understood? So based on the computer, it will support the following functions to process the data. What are the functions it will follow each and every computer? Which function should be followed? Means it will follow accept the data programs as input, stores the data or program and retrieve data or program as and when required, and process the data as per instructions given by the program and convert into useful information, and last one, communicate the information as output. Understood? So based on these four functions, Based on these four functions, the computer it is having four major units. Based on these functional units, based on these functions of the computer is having four major units. So what are the four major units means? The four major units we are called as the first one, the input unit, second one, the memory unit, third one, central processing unit, and fourth one, output unit. I think you understand why I am writing all the major units in these functional units. So which unit can be helped to perform this function? To accept the data input as to accept data or program as an input by using the input unit devices. Next, stores the data. Where the data should be stored? In a memory. Where the programs should be stored? In a memory. And it will retrieve. Once the data should be stored, then only we are retrieve the data from the memory. Next, process the data. Then which unit we are required to process the data? CPU. CPU stands for central processing unit. Communicate the information as output. So, which unit can be used to display the results or display the information? The output unit can be used. Understood? Now, we have discussed these four units. What are the four major units of the computer? First one, input unit, second one, output unit, third one, memory unit, and fourth one, central processing unit. So, this central processing unit in short form we are called as CPU. This CPU is having three subcomponents. The three subcomponents of the CPU are control unit, in short form we are called as CU, arithmetic and logic unit, in short form we are called as ALU, and the third subcomponent of the CPU is registers. Understood? So based on these units, we are write the block diagram of a computer. Here I will construct the block diagram of computer. Block diagram of computer. So this block diagram of computer, it is very important for annual exam. So here I will write the input unit. Input unit. Input unit can be used to send the data to the computer or given input data to the CPU. This is called as CPU, central processing unit. The CPU is having control unit and it is having arithmetic and logic unit. Arithmetic and logic unit, and also it is a third subcomponent as registers. Next, it is communicate the information as an output. We are connect output unit to the CPU and the data should be stored in a memory. We are connected memory unit to the CPU. This is called a memory unit. In this memory, we are present two types of memories. The first one is a primary memory and the second one is a secondary memory. Based on this four functional units, we are construct the block diagram of a computer. Understood? So in the model exam, they were asked for 5 mark question. write a block diagram of computer and explain its functions. Understood? In that time, first you write the diagram. This diagram carries 1 mark. So don't write monitor, screen, keyboard, mouse and all those things. Just you write a block diagram in this way. Here we have mentioned all the major units of the computer. Input unit, the direction sends the data to the CPU. The CPU is having control unit, arithmetic and logic unit and registers. Next, the CPU sends the output to the output unit, and if the data wants to store in a memory, the CPU sends the data to the memory unit. Understood? Now, we have discussed each and every unit briefly, because in the second chapter of this computer science subject, we have discussed each and every unit component in depth. So here, I will explain brief. The very first unit we are taken as an input unit. Students, already I will explain in the bridge course what is input unit and what are all the input devices we are used to given the different types of data to the computer. The unit can be used to feed the data or enters the data to the computer is called input unit. What is input unit or what is the use of input unit? The unit can be used to feed or enters the data to the computer is called as input unit. So the devices, the different devices can be used to enter the data to the system. Enters the data to the system. Here system means computer system is called input devices. It's called input devices. Whatever the devices we are used to enter the data. Here input unit means it will contain so many input devices. Different data we are given by using different input devices. Whatever the devices we are used to enter the data to the computer system are called as a input devices. So here keyboard. All of you know the keyboard. Keyboard is a standard input device. Keyboard is a standard input device. Because each and every computer must have the keyboard device. Understood? So that keyboard device can be used to given a numerical data to the computer, a alphabetic data to the computer, and alphanumeric data we can given. Understood? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಕೀಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಲ್ಫಾಬೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕೀಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವು ಸಿಂಬಲ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದಾವುದು ನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕಲ್ ಡೇಟಾನ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು, ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಡೇಟಾನ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು, ಹಾಗೆ ಆಲ್ಫಾನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕ್ ಡೇಟಾನ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Understood? So that keyboard we are called as a standard input device in a computer system. Then we are taking other input devices. Other input devices are mouse, scanner, we have taken light pen, joystick, OMR, OCR. OMR stands for optical mark reader. OCR stands for optical character recognition. MICR stands for magnetic ink character recognition. Barcode reader, biometric system, voice recognition system, digital cameras, etc. So these are all different input devices we are used to enter different type of data to the computer system. Understood? So these devices translate whatever the data we are given to the computer. At the time of transferring the data from input device to CPU, the data, user understandable data, should be converted to machine understandable format. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಡೇಟಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಬಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಡೇಟಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಬಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಡೇಟಾನ ಅದು ಮಿಷನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಬಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡೇಟಾನ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Understood? The input devices can be used to give a different types of data. See here, by using the scanner, we are given document data, we are given image data. Understood? So, by using other input devices, we are given different types of data to the system. So, the system can understand all types of data because it will convert our data into its understandable format. So, that's why all type of input data the system can easily recognize and it will send it to the CPU. Understand? So, the unit can be used to feed or enters the data to the computer is called as the input unit. What are all the devices can be used to enter the data to the computer is called as input devices. Keyboard is a standard input device in almost all computer. Other input devices are mouse, scanner, light pen, joystick, OMR, OCR, MICR, barcode reader, biometric system, voice recognition system, digital cameras, etc. Now, we move to the second unit is output unit. The unit can be used to display the data information or result to the users is called output unit. The unit can be used to display the information or result to the user is called as a output unit. Means after processing the data in the CPU, whatever the results be generated in the CPU, that results the user can want because they are take some decision based on the results. So that's why the CPU sends that result to the output unit. Then what is the use of output unit? We are receiving the output from the CPU and we are seeing on the output devices. Understood? Next. So what are the output devices we are seeing in the computer system and which one we are called as a standard output device? Monitor is called standard output device, or monitor is a standard output device. Because students, you know, each and every computer is having monitor device because which type of data we are given that can be seen by using the monitor device and what are the results the CPU generates. That result also display on the monitor device. Basically, each and every computer must have the monitor devices. So that monitor we are called as a standard output device. Other output devices are available in a CS market. What are the other output devices? Means we are using printer. Other output devices or printer. Printer is an output device. Projector is an output device. Plotter is also an output device, etc. Speaker. We are taken as a speaker has an output device. So, monitor is a standard output device. Other output devices are printer, projector, plotter, etc. So, these output devices receives the information from the CPU and translate that information into user understandable format. Means output devices produce results in user understandable format. Because the data or information should be stored in the format of zeros and ones. If it will produce a results in zeros and ones format, we cannot understand which type of result the computer will be given. So that's why the output devices, it will produce outputs in the user understandable format, then we can easily understand the information. So that information is very helpful to take the decisions for further actions. Students, are you understand the output unit? The unit can be used to display the result or information to the users is called as the output unit. What are all the devices can be used to retrieve the result from the computer are called as a output devices. Monitor we are called as a standard output device. Other output devices are printer, plotters, projectors, speakers, etc. Next, the output devices produces results in user understandable format. Understood? So next, we are moved to the third unit is memory unit. We are taken as memory unit. So what is memory unit in a computer's terms? So the space provides to store data and information is called memory unit. Memory unit. The space provides to store the data and information, means it will store the input data as well as it will store the output information. Understood? Input and output both should be stored in a space is called as a memory unit. Some of the devices can be used to store the data. Those devices we are called as a memory devices. The devices are used to store data and information is called memory devices. So what are all the devices we are used to store the data and information in a computer system are called memory devices. Understood? So the memory is having two types. So the two types already I will written on the block diagram of the computer. So what are the two memory devices? Are you seeing that in this diagram? Two memory devices. What are those two? Primary memory and secondary memory. So I will write in short form. Okay. So here PM stands for not primary. It is a primary memory. The primary memory and SM stands for secondary memory. Primary memory and secondary memory are the two memory devices. Each and every computer is having to store the data and information. There are two types of memory devices are available. Those two types of memory devices are primary memory and secondary memory. Here, the primary memory can store the data temporarily. The secondary memory can store the data permanently. The primary memory, it is having very less space. Secondary memory is having huge memory space. Understood? So these are all the points enough to memory units. The unit can be provides to store the data or information in a computer is called as a memory unit. The devices can be used to store the data and information in a computer is called as a memory devices. Here there are two types of memory devices available in each and every computer. Commonly those two types of memory devices are primary memory and secondary memory. In depth we are discussing the second chapter. So next we go for the very important unit in a computer system is CPU. This CPU is the main part in a computer system. Main part in a computer. CPU is a main part in a computer system because the CPU can controls and coordinates. The CPU is controls and coordinates all parts of the computers are connected to this CPU. So CPU ಗೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾವ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವೋ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಹಾಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ CPU ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So the CPU is a major component in a computer system. It will controls and coordinates. The components can be connected to the CPU or the components can be attached to the CPU. So once the components can be attached to the CPU can check which are all the components can be working properly or activated, which are all the components are not activated. Understood? All the devices functions can be checked by the CPU. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಯಾವ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ದ CPU we are called as brain of the computer. CPU is called brain of the computer. So which one is the brain of the computer? CPU is a brain of the computer because all the major responsibilities the CPU can take care. Understood? So it will communicate and coordinate to all the external devices are connected to the CPU. So this CPU is having 3 subcomponents. CPU is having 3 subcomponents. The 3 subcomponents of CPU are first one, control units. What is the functions of control unit? In this basis, the control unit is works. Means the control unit is the major component in a CPU. CPU is a major component in the computer system. Like that, control unit is a major component in the CPU because the control unit, it will take some decisions based on the data. So users ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಡೇಟಾ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? ಫಸ್ಟ್ the functions of control units we are discussed. So what are the functions of control units? Means the first function is it will fetch the instructions or data from the input units. ಈ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಡೇಟಾನ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫೆಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಸೀವ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫೆಚ್ ದ ಡೇಟಾ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಈಸ್ once the data is transferred from input unit to CPU, the control unit is check whether the instruction is having any calculation part or not. ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಆ ಡೇಟಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. The second function of the control unit is it will check whether any calculation part is involved in the instructions given by the users. Users ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ we are given some addition or subtraction or multiplication or any logical operations of data to the CPU, then the control unit sends that instruction to the ALU to perform the calculations. ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ALU ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? Then the control unit third function is if the data is related to ALU, it is having some calculation part, sends that data to the ALU. Understood? Suppose our instruction does not having any calculation part. ನಮ್ಮ ಡೇಟಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಬರೀ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಡೇಟಾನ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಗೆ ಮೆಮೊರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನೋ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಾಗ the control unit again takes a decision. It is not belongs to ALU. Then directly control unit sends that data to the memory. Understood? If it is related to ALU, the data should be transferred to ALU. If it is not related to ALU, the control unit sends that data to the memory devices. Understood? The fourth function, if the data does not having any calculation part, the control unit sends the data to the memory to storage. Next, if the data is having calculation, so the data is transferred to ALU. After process the data, the ALU can calculate the data and it will send its result, right? That result, the control unit is received from the ALU. ನಮಗೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ALU ಗೆ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ALU ಡೇಟಾನ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ವೋ ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. The results generated from ALU, the results received from the control unit, and that results can be sent to the output unit. After processing the data, the last function of the control unit is after processing the data in ALU, the resultant values, the control unit is received from ALU and sent it to the output unit. Understood? So these are all the major functions of control unit. That's why control unit is a main part of the CPU. So what are the functions of control unit? First function, it will fetch the data or instructions from the input unit. Second one, it will check whether the instruction is having any calculation part or not. Third one, if the instruction is having the calculation part, the control unit sends the data to the ALU. Fourth one, if the instruction does not having any calculation, then the control unit sends the data to the memory. Then fourth one, after processing the data in a ALU, the resultant value should be generated. The final resultant value. The control unit receives the resultant value from the ALU. Understood? The last function of the control unit is it will send the result to the output unit. Understood? Next, we are discussed about second component of the CPU is arithmetic and logic units. Arithmetic and logic units. In short form, we are called as ALU. Expand ALU. Arithmetic and logic unit. Understood? So, what is the main function of ALU? Means, once the data comes from control unit ALU, the ALU is check which all the operators the user can given, which type of data should be calculated. Either the user can pass a plus operator, then ALU performs addition operation. If the user sends minus operator, the ALU performs subtraction operation. If the user tells ampersand operators, it will perform logical multiplication operation, logical AND operation. Understood? So based on the operators the user can given the data, the ALU can perform the operations. Understood? The main function of arithmetic and logic unit is it will perform all kinds of arithmetic operations and all kinds of logical operations. Arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. Logical operators such as logical AND operation, logical OR operation, logical NOT operation. So the logical operators, it will process the data by using 2 bits. The 2 bits we are called as 0 and 1. So computer is also understand zeros and ones. Then it is easily perform the logical operations of the data. Understood? So ALU is the unit, is only the unit in a computer system to process, to calculate the data. Andre computer system alli ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಡೇಟಾ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅವೈಲಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ALU ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Understood? The ALU unit can be used to calculate the data in zeros and ones format. Zeros and ones format ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಡೇಟಾನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ arithmetic and logic unit. Understood? So next, the third sub-component of the CPU is registers. What is register? Why the registers are needed in a CPU? Registers means it is a small storage space. That storage space we are called as a storage locations or storage cells. Cells ಅಂತನೂ ಕರೀತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ storage locations ಅಂತನೂ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ಈ storage cells ನಮಗೆ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ this registers we are always connected to ALU. ALU ಮಾತ್ರನೇ ಈ registers ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ at the time of calculating the data in the ALU, it will require some memory space to store the intermediate result. Understood? For example, I will give a data is 2 into 5 plus 6. So how the data should be processed here? First, it will multiply these two numbers, right? Because here we are passing multiplication operator. What is the answer of 2 into 5? 10. So this is the resultant value of this operation. Multiplication operator ಇಂದ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಇದು. ಈ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ಫೈನಲ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಇಂಟರ್ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So this intermediate result can be stored in a register. Later, the register given 10 data to the ALU and ALU can process the task. Then 10 plus 6 is 16. So now this is the final answer. This final answer goes to ALU, control unit. But so at the time of processing the data or calculating the data, the intermediate result should be generated. That intermediate results can be stored in a small storage area we are called as a storage cells or storage locations. That storage cells or storage locations we are called as the register. Registers are connected to the ALU to store the intermediate results generated at the time of calculating the data. Understood? These registers we are also called as buffer area. Buffer area means it will get refreshed. So it is a small area. It will store the intermediate results. Once the final result given to the ALU or once the intermediate values can be sent to the ALU, the registers are refreshed. ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಿ ALUಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Again the 16 value should be stored in the register. Once the 16 value is sent to the ALU, again the registers are free. So it will given a memory space to calculate the data in a fast accessing time. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾನ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ALU ಮಾತ್ರ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ? ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 6 ಜನರಲ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್. ದಟ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆಸ್ R0, R1, R2, R3, R4 and R5. So these general purpose registers are not given in your textbook, just have it at the point. So registers or a small memory area, it will provide the memory space to the ALU to store the intermediate results generated in the ALU. Understood? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ? ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ 5 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಆನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Explain the functional units of a computer with a block diagram ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗ ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬರೆದು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2 to 3 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಗೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Students, are you clear about a functional components of computer or working for each unit? What is input unit? What is the use of input unit? What is the use of output unit? Why we are using the memory unit and why the CPU is called as a major part of the computer system? Understood? So CPU we are called as the brain of the computer system. Why it is called as the brain of the computer system is it will control and coordinates all the components can be connected to the CPU. So here observe one thing, the data is passed from input unit to CPU. In the CPU the data is passed from CU to ALU, ALU to registers and CU to memory unit, again the CU to output unit. So here which device can be used to transfer the data from one component to another component means we are using bus. We are using bus. Bus is a set of parallel wires. Bus is a set of parallel wires can be used to transfer the data from one component to another component, or bus is a set of parallel wires can be used to provide a path to transfer data from different components in a computer system. Are you clear? Okay. In the next class, we are going for the new concept, that is evolution of computer.